Hello and welcome to the latest episode of The Talking Tradesman. In the studio with me today, I have none other than Aaron Ashton, El Gringo Mandingo, the Bare-Knuckle Biker.
I like that. You'll have to introduce me for my next fight.
Mate, that was a proper lot. I think I could do that, get in the ring and introduce.
Yeah.
As you might have guessed, Aaron is a bare-knuckle boxer, amongst other things, and also a biker. Kind of clues in the title. But Aaron's also got a story to tell that revolves around his own journey into how he got into bare-knuckle fighting, why he does what he does, and touches on mental health, as this podcast always does. So, first of all, mate, massive thank you for giving up your time, coming over and coming to sit down and record with me.
No, thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Mate, the thanks are always mine, mate.
It's a sexy little studio you got going on here.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah, we're getting there. I'm kind of adding bits on the weekly, so...
It's very, very vogue.
Appreciate it, mate. Appreciate it. I'm moving it around as well, different episodes, different backdrops. So when
you say tradesman, is like interior designer a trade? Or?
Well, mate, I'm a decorrator by a trade, so you know what I mean. It's that same kind of thing. But yeah, man, let's talk. Let's get into your story. Where's a good place to start? Okay,
so probably the beginning of my sort of mental health. I flirt with mental health issues, I suppose, is probably the best place to go with it. My childhood was a bit... Yeah, we're not even going to go there. It's too long and contorted, but wasn't a bad childhood. A little bit turbulent. My parents separated when I was quite young. I was brought up by my dad, who was a full-time copper.
Okay.
Ironically.
Yeah.
And he... Very, very good man. I owe a lot of my character to the man that my dad is. Very good man, very nice man. Always did the right thing, made a lot of fucking sacrifices for us as kids. He raised me and my 5 sisters single-handedly, with various girlfriends along the way and whatever else. But we were mainly brought up by my dad and childminders. Obviously being a copper, he was working a lot of long shifts. It'd be 2 till 10 one day and 9 till 5 another day, and there was always overtime and whatever else. So it was quite normal for us to be... Well, we would look after ourselves at a certain point. I think me and my sister Holly, who's 2 years older than me, like sometimes she would fill in as the childminder, sort of... She was the mum of the house, to be fair. She was the one who was making sure I had clothes ironed for school. She was doing a lot of the cooking and stuff, and this is at like 12, 13 years old.
Do you know what, mate? Sometimes needs must, though, don't they? I can sympathise. So you say there were 3 of you in the house, was that right?
Yeah, so it was me, my dad, my sister, but then we had another sister, Sam, who was disabled. She had cerebral palsy, couldn't walk, couldn't talk.
Okay.
Another sister, Sarah, who's actually not my dad's biological daughter. She's my mum's biological daughter from a previous relationship. It's what I mean, it's contorted.
Yeah. No, mate, I'm all for it. This is, you say, like, obviously family, the childhood is too far back or too much. But to me, I believe a lot of the way that we react to things in our later life relates back to that.
100%.
So generally, it's like it's the foundations, Aaron, isn't it? And it can offer a lot of insight into later life, the things that you take, the way things affect you often relate to, experiences or potential traumas through childhood.
Yeah. I think one of the big things that my childhood has taught me and my sisters is resilience. For that exact reason, we've never had an easy life because of Dad's work setup, and the fact we were not fending for ourselves, but we were kind of fending for ourselves to a degree when he was at work or, whatever. We've always learned to make do, and we've always found a way. Like, there was no fucking money in our house. Yes, Dad was a copper, but he had a lot of debts. After the separation to my mum, he had to take a lot of loans out to furnish the new house that we ended up at. And there was various things that his money went on, but it didn't leave a lot of money in the house. There was no nice clothes. There was no fucking weekends away in Spain, or there was none of that. We'd be lucky to go to Brill for a couple of days.
What area did you grow up?
Stourbridge.
Oh, okay, right. So where you're from is where you're from, kind of thing.
But I can't stress the fact enough, he was a fucking good dad, and considering how full his hands were, he still found time to show us love, affection, and he did everything that he could do to make sure we had the things that we needed. We didn't have the things we wanted, but we had the things we needed. And now that I'm a dad, I appreciate how fucking hard that must have been for him. But yeah, so that was the basis of my childhood. As I got slightly older, Dad moved out, moved in with his girlfriend, but kept the house. It was actually a police-owned house that we were sort of renting from the police for like reduced rates. Some of my sisters moved out. My disabled sister ended up in full-time care because by this point she was like a 18, 20-year-old lady.
Hey to your dad though, mate. I mean, yeah, 3 daughters, a son, to do that on his own, like that's
massive,
a lot, isn't it?
Absolutely massive. And once we'd all everyone started to go their separate ways, Holly, my the closest sister to me in age, she moved to Telford with a boyfriend at like 16. I was pretty much left in the house on my own. And from there, I had the same sort of teenage years as most people do. There was drugs involved. There was a lot of partying, a lot of being a little shit, basically. Very low-level crime, fucking pub violence, little bits of drug dealing.
So obviously you're a fighter now, and a fighter in the more extreme elements when it comes to the bare-knuckle world. When was your first sort of, like, I guess, exposure to violence?
It'd be primary school. I grew up on a council estate, and the school that I went to, Hob Green, was full of council estate kids. And you know as well as I do, kids from a working class background, violence is kind of in their nature. You know, I'm a firm believer in the fact that although we've got this modern civilization set up where we get office jobs, and we get aircon, and we get electric cars and all of this shit, that's an environment that we've created for ourselves, but we're still operating with caveman hardware. We're very, very simple beings. We don't need much. And there are certain things that are like deeply embedded in our genetic code that have helped us survive up to this point. And one of those things is violence. I feel like working class culture is just a little bit closer to that caveman than your middle class guys, your upper class guys, purely because we have always had to fight for the things that we've got. You know, going back to my primary school, the kids I was around, you know, I wouldn't say I was a fortunate kid, but there was no abuse in my house. There was no alcoholic parents in my house. There was no... Oh, Dad did like a fucking drink, to be fair to him. But yeah, far from an alcoholic. But the kids I was around, that wasn't the case. Some of these kids were being brought up by their mums who had no contact with their dads. They had no positive male role models in their life. Some of them were being brought up by heroin addicts, crack addicts. And these kids were feral, you know, not for any choice of their own, just through lack of having a responsible parent around them. So, yeah, we'd butt heads. I wouldn't say I was picked on. Kids tried to pick on me. I'm not trying to paint this picture either as I was a tough kid. I wasn't. I was soft. I fuck me, I had 6 sisters. I wasn't beat up by my brothers. I wasn't a tough kid by design. I liked to play on my computer. I liked to read fucking Dungeons and Dragons novels. I was that kid.
Okay.
But I did have a tipping point. I was always very calm, very laid back, but I would only take shit for so long. And the first interaction of violence I can remember, there was a guy, I'm not going to say his name, but he was quite a tough kid. He was regularly fighting at school. I can't remember what started it, but he said something to me in one of the classes along the lines of, when the bell goes at the end of school, I'm going to fucking do you. I was like, right, okay. And in my head, I'm a young kid, I'm thinking, oh, fucking, you know, all of a sudden the rest of that day becomes like unbearable. It's fucking hell, he's fighting all the time. I've never had a fight in my life, and oh, fucking hell, what am I going to do here? And I said to one of my mates, he wants to fight me after school. And they said, well, why after school? I was like, I don't fucking know. He just told me when the bell goes at the end of the day, he's going to do me. He said, well, just fucking go up to him in the playground and do him first then. was like, well, he said the end of the day I might be able to like get out of it. He was like, nah, just wait till dinner time and just go and fucking spring it on him. And I thought, hey, it's probably a fucking good idea, to be fair, we'll give it a bash. So I remember at dinner time, you know what kids are like, they all started bigging the situation up.
Yeah,
he's going to do this to you, he's going to do that to you. And I seem to remember being in a circle on the playground, and there was fucking kids all around us, and it was me and this other kid, and everyone was saying, oh, fucking, why do you fight now? Why do you fight now? And one of the kids behind him pushed him at me to like sort of get him into the fight. And as he's pushed him at me, he sort of leaned towards me and then turned around to have a go at the kid who's pushed him. And as soon as he turned his back, I fucking Judased him. Just gone bang around the side of his chin. He sort of fell into me. And I remember short back and sides push forward with a flick. The same fucking haircut everybody had. Yeah. I remember grabbing his flick on the way down and just fucking hitting him 4 or 5 times. And then he hit the deck. Fucking teachers swamped in, and it was over. But that was the first one, and I remember thinking, oh, that wasn't too bad. I was fucking terrified all day of how that interaction was going to go. And because it was just done and dusted, it was like, oh, the build-up to it was far scarier than the actual event. Which kind of, it lit a bulb up for me. It made me realise that, well, all these kids that do try it on with me, all you got to do is just fucking fight them. And then you haven't got to let them live in your head rent-free and have this fucking mental tax of worrying and stressing and ducking and diving and whatever. You just got to stick it on them, and then it's done. Obviously, it's a little bit different these days because things don't just get wrapped up that quickly.
Do you know what, mate? It's worth pointing out. I've said it a few times because, like, I was born in 84. I believe you were 88.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're not that far apart. But my generation was the same, mate. I think my childhood probably echoes yours quite a lot. I'm going to pause there to thank this episode's sponsors, Abode Academy. Abode offer practical-based spray courses in Wiltshire and Manchester. They teach airless spraying, kitchen and furniture spraying, UPVC spraying, special effects including metal and workshop refurbishment courses. I myself have been on their airless course and I really enjoyed it. They teach in small groups, so it's a laid-back environment and very hands-on, loads of time on the sprayers. Their courses are approved by the Construction Industry Training Board, otherwise known as CITB, so you know you're getting good quality training. They offer full aftercare support and have their own range of spray equipment, which is top quality at affordable prices, and the aftercare they give is nothing short of amazing. If you're thinking of getting into spraying, you can check out their website at www.abodeacademy.co.uk, or you can search them up at Abode Academy on Instagram, as they post loads of helpful spraying content with tips and tricks. Thanks to the team at Abode Academy for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. Let's get back to the episode. Same thing, parents split when I was young, and I remember I went to, was at school in Redditch, my first school, like probably it was 3-tier rather than 2.
Right.
So it was like 4 years, 3 or something. But the first year, so the first section, my mum and dad were together. I was at this like nice, posh school, nice area. Then my mum and dad split. And my middle school, I got sent to the roughest school in town. And I made that realisation. Similar thing, first day in, lad who's a mate of mine now, played football with him for years. Same thing, just decided he wanted to fight me on day one. Mm-hmm. And I was at that point, I was this kid that had never had a fight in my life. The same thing, I was just like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, what do you want to fight me for? Yeah. But the culture, I mean, when I was at school, it was probably similar to you. There was a fight every day, or 3 or 4 fights every day. Every night out when I was a youngster used to end in a scrap. It was like, it was more normalised but less, it's mad now, isn't it, mate?
Now it's such a dangerous game to get involved in any sort of violence.
1,000,000%, mate.
I've had friends who've been stabbed, shot at, pepper sprayed, fucking, I know friends who've had acid chucked through the car windows. I know one of my best mates got stabbed in the face a couple of years back while he was sat in his car. So the culture now is different, and
it doesn't just end. There's no settler, is there?
No. The culture I'm a part of now with the bike club, if there's an issue between 2 people, either in the club or out the club or whatever, there's very much a focus on resolve it with no drama. If not just in the bike club, but like the lads that I hang around with through the boxing and whatever else, because they're so used to a controlled, violent confrontation. We know the emotions that can come out during that that interaction, and how those emotions can calm back down immediately after it. I've known fucking many people have a straightener. You know what a straightener is. For people who don't know what a straightener is, it's if two people have got an issue, it's a way of them solving the problem in a controlled environment. Being from a working class background, I've seen the fucking problems that they've solved. You can have two individuals, and I don't know, something can happen. They can be out on the night pissed up. Two people can take advantage of one person, and all of a sudden that one person's slighted, and he's like, well, that's unfair. I've had two people kick me in, so I'm going to put a fucking hole in him. Well, all that can be averted by, well, hang on a minute. Before this gets out of hand, before people's doors start getting kicked off and people's cars start getting fucking firebombed or whatever, here's a time and a date and a location with very closed doors. You could bring two people that you trust to keep it fair. You can bring two people that you trust to keep it fair. And there'll be a collective group of people who've got a good reputation in the area that will be there to make sure everything stays calm. And you can have that fight. You can have that fight. You can put your fucking everything into it. And when somebody goes down or says that they've had enough, it's fucking over. That box is ticked. There's no comebacks. There's no resolution. Going back to what I said earlier, being from a working class environment, that is quite an appealing aspect to some people. Obviously, some people will watch this and think violence isn't the answer. I genuinely think that all of the ego and all of the pride and fucking whatever, that will get people shot, that will get people killed. Whereas having that fight, that violent interaction with each other, with two willing combatants who've both agreed to it and they've both agreed to the terms and the outcome, that saves lives. Yeah, you'll get a few cuts and bruises and whatever, but you're not going to end up with colostomy bag because you've been shot in the guts.
I agree, mate.
You're not going to end up fucking bleeding out in an alleyway somewhere.
You've probably seen it yourself. I mean, Christ, I'm still fortunate. I'm still in touch with a good 15, 16 lads that I went to school with, and half of them have had scraps with each other. And the amount of times I'd see, whatever it might be, silly stuff, generally over girls, mate, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But there'd be a scrap, and, it's over, it's done with, and then I'll have a pint together. You settle it, hence a straightener, a settler, whatever, and then it's done. But like you said, these days, mate, that just don't exist or don't seem to exist.
No, I think that the big thing with a lot of people as well is they just can't accept that they've lost. And I think this is why fighting's so important for me, because I've lost fights. I've lost 3 bare-knuckle fights. I've lost 1 gloved boxing match. I know what it feels like to lose, and it's not as, I'm probably the exception to the rule, but it's not as all-encompassing as people feel like it is. I've got no shame in losing a fight. I'd have shame in backing down from a fight. In boxing and bare-knuckle specifically, in the fucking streets, there's calculations that need to be done with certain things. But these lads who go out and they carry a blade or they carry a thing or whatever, they're terrified to lose. It's not that they're scared to take an hiding. They're terrified to be seen to lose because their fucking ego is so big, and they want to be seen to be this big man who nobody fucks with and nobody gets one over and everybody doesn't respect, but they fear. That's why they carry the things on them, because they want to be feared. But what they don't realise is when you put a fucking hole in somebody and they don't stop bleeding and they die, they don't know what it feels like to sit in jail for 18, 25 years.
Absolutely, mate.
Like, they don't see or really fucking care, if I'm being honest, about the damage it does to their own family. If somebody goes nick for 25 years, that family's effectively lost a family member. That's grief. And I've seen my best friend committed suicide about 6 years ago, and I spent a lot of time around the family, and I've seen what losing somebody does to a family, and it's not fair. It's not fair that in the instance of somebody stabbing somebody, it's not fair on your family for you to go away for 25 years, and it's not fair on the other guy's family for them to have to deal with the pain that you've given to him. It's just been fucking passed on to them because you're a selfish little cunt who can't pick up a phone and say, look, I don't like you, you don't like me, let's just have it.
I don't see it getting no better, mate. Do you know what? So I've got a son. My son's 18, and I had this conversation with him because, as far as I know, he's never had a fight. By his age, I was fighting every weekend.
Yeah.
But that's a great thing. Don't get me wrong, mate. I wouldn't change it because in today's day and age, I'd be petrified if he was out fighting on a weekend because I know what would happen. But he said to me, and it was a few years ago when I was having this conversation with him about the different generations, and he said to me, "When the thing is, though, Dad, if we get into a fight, there's 20 people recording it, and it don't like. Whereas we could have a fight when we were younger, maybe like you lose a fight, the only thing that remains of that the day after is a black eye. Maybe a couple of people have watched. No, what he said to me was, the lads don't want to have a fight because if they lose, it goes viral. Then they become a meme." And he had it, mate of his. So my son went to school in Devon for a long period of time, and funnily enough, a lad from Birmingham moved down and went to the high school. And one of his mates tried to pick on this kid from Birmingham who was, wired differently.
Inner city kid.
Yeah. So this lad has knocked him spark out, like virtually instantly. And then, but this lad who was knocked out then, pictures, videos, all that, like, he became a meme. They were like superimposing him knocked out with all these backgrounds. It goes around the school. And that's what they're all terrified of, is that it don't end there. It doesn't get settled. It lives on.
That's an aspect I didn't think about, to be fair.
It was interesting to me when he mentioned it because I thought the same. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah. I have no shame in losing a fight. It doesn't fucking bother me. But it's a different thing when... I mean, to be fair, I think my last fight's up to 120,000 views on YouTube, and I got fucking...
Very different thing, though, Aaron. Because, there's no... Listen, there's nobody going to tell you or take the piss out of you for losing a bare-knuckle fight.
True, I suppose.
I can't think of anyone that would be daft enough.
But you're right, that Snapchat culture, it's like... fucking hell. You're watching somebody's consciousness get snatched and hitting their head on the fucking concrete. And then you share it like it's funny. Like I'll get up to some sick shit in a boxing ring. I've had fights where I've detached people's retinas, broken the noses, shattered the teeth, fucking all sorts. Yeah, I can't watch like street fights. Like my mates send me some fucking gross videos. I'm like, I'm not even gonna fucking open this. I can't stomach this because I think it's probably because I know what the damage is like when you get a good hiding. And to watch that in unchecked environment, it's like it's too close to. It's like watching a fucking snuff movie.
Yeah.
Like I can't see somebody's head bounce off the concrete, especially if they're unwilling. I've watched the no rule stuff, obviously, and because it's two guys who are like at the peak of their thing, I'm kind of
to an extent they knew what they were getting into.
Yeah, but if somebody just gets knocked the fuck out on a train, I'm like, oh nah, yeah, no, it's scary. But,
let's get. We've gone off on a track talking about fighting, mate, haven't we? Which is all good. It's all good. But let's come back to, I guess, the why, mate. The why, because what you do is not something that the average person does or takes up. How did your journey into fighting start? Let's go into that.
Okay, so this will happen. I will go on tangent, so just reel me back in.
Mate, I'm good with that. We're all good.
Yeah. So with the boxing, so I've had 2 failed marriages. My first marriage, won't go too much into it because I've spoke about it before. My first wife is the mother of my daughter, Lily. She's a good-hearted woman. We just bumped heads non-stop. We bumped heads, and we sort of had that relationship where we were always trying to do the next thing that would fix us. And that was buy a house. Oh, that didn't really fix us. Okay, we'll get some dogs. Oh, that didn't really fix us. Okay, we'll get married. Well, that didn't work either. What else can we do? Let's have a kid. Okay, we had a kid. Oh, shit, now we're broken and we've done everything we could possibly do to make us happy. So that one fell apart. While that one was falling apart, I had a fucking horrible phone call one day to say that my best friend had killed himself.
I'm really sorry to hear that, man.
You know what? It's something I've come to terms with. We're talking 6-7 years now. It still has an impact and it still has an effect. But you know what it's like. You've lost mates. I have looked at it from every angle to try and make sense of it. I've looked at it from both sides, from my side, from his side, from every possible angle that I can think of to make it make sense, and it doesn't really make sense. So I've come to terms to accept that. It's just his suffering was far greater than his desire to be here. So he did what he did, and unfortunately, the repercussions of it were that everybody else had to feel pain. But I'm at peace knowing that he's not in pain anymore, and he must have been in some fucking extreme pain to...
Had he struggled with mental health
massively.
in the lead up?
Yeah, there was a lot of issues there. He had, on paper, he had everything. You know, he should have been happy. He had a nice car, he had a good job, he had his own house, really fucking good family around him. He had a massive social circle. He was always laughing, smiling. You know, it didn't make sense that he wouldn't be happy, but he wasn't fucking happy. He was a good time guy. He liked to party. He liked all the things that come with partying. I think the bottom line of it is it was an existential crisis. I don't feel like he felt that he had purpose to live. I don't think... I mean, like, I know now, only because of what I've been doing the last couple of years, what genuine purpose is. I feel like him, he didn't have a stable relationship, he didn't have children, he had no sort of hobby that absorbed him completely. He just got up, went to work, came back, went to the pub, got pissed, became the life and soul of the party, went to bed, fucking hated himself for it, and then got up on Monday and did it all over again. I think he was just stuck in the monotony of life.
Do you know what, mate? I mean, you giving that description, like, how many blokes are in that position?
Fucking untold amounts. The big thing that separated him from everybody else was he was highly intelligent, very introspective, and I believe that he overanalyzed every aspect of his own personality, every aspect of his shortcomings, and I believe that he just felt like he wasn't good enough, like not even good enough, like he wasn't enough. There wasn't enough point in him existing, and because he was so matter of fact with the way he made his decisions, it was like, well, if there's no fucking point, then I'm not going to do it. Right. He attempted suicide several times, and he did have a lot of help through Mind, through some of the various sort of establishments in Starbridge and surrounding areas. Plus, he had the help of his family, who did bend over backwards to make sure he was okay. But unfortunately, he wasn't okay. So, on June the 20th, 2018, he took the decision to take his own life. Which, yeah, that kind of set the scene for everything else that was to follow. Now, when I received that phone call, I was fucking devastated. Weirdly, in the first instance, I was at work when I took the phone call. And I remember putting the phone down. I walked up to my gaffer and I said, "Oh, mate," I said, I was just in shock, you know, like it hadn't processed yet. And I walked up to my gaffer and said, I've just had some bad news. He said, "What's going on?" I said, "My mate's killed himself." I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "My mate Ad's killed himself." He said, "Is he the guy with the Clio?" I said, "Yeah." He was like, "Fucking hell, mate. You need to get yourself off. Like, you don't need to be here. Go home." And I was like, yeah. I said, "Just give me an hour. I just want to pop out for a bit and just clear my head, and I'll come back." And I got in the car, put my seatbelt on, very routine, got my aux lead, put my fucking music on, put it down, lit a fag, started driving up the road, fucking waiting at all the traffic, just completely fucking normal, like nothing had landed. And then pulled on my drive, literally put the fucking keys in the door, opened the door, walked into my hallway, and it was just like a fucking meteorite hit me. I just collapsed and just fucking sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. I got a bottle of whiskey out the cupboard, started fucking downing it, phoned my first wife, told her what had happened. She came rushing back from work, and the next month of my life is genuinely a fucking blur. I was just so I was just deflated, just destroyed. I've never been an overly emotional person, but I just couldn't control it. It was just, you know what it's like. Your brain does all of those. Well, you're never going to hear his car again. You're never going to smell his aftershave again. Your phone's never going to ring. You're never going to get that stupid fucking meme off him again. All those WhatsApp groups he's in are going to go quiet. Every fucking time that you hear a certain song that you connect to him, it's going to have a different meaning. Like fucking everything. And yeah, obviously I was juggling a lot of the time because the marriage was breaking down before this happened. The house was already up for sale. We were sort of like living in the same house, but we'd effectively separated. So I was trying to deal with the death of my best friend. And yeah, at the time, I wasn't in the best place either. You know, if you could see me then, it's not the me that you see now. I was, I'd say I was not borderline depressed, but I was just unfulfilled with life. I was stuck in a dead relationship. I was smoking loads of fucking weed. I wasn't going to the gym. I had no healthy routine. My daughter had only been born, I think, 10 months at this point. So I was just fucking kind of existing up to that point anyway. And then that happened, and it was everything. I ended up going to the doctors. I said, look, I think I'm depressed. I can't focus. I've just lost my friend. My relationship's breaking down. I've got all of these uncertainties about my future. You know, my house is up for sale. I fucking can't get for an hour without just fucking breaking down. Help me. And they did what the typical NHS does. Well, here's sertraline. These are your new best friend. Start taking these and you'll be fixed.
Let's pause there quickly to thank our headline sponsors, Zinza. And in particular, take a moment to talk about their incredible product, Zinza Bin Aqua. Zinza Bin Aqua is a water-based primer, sealer, stain killer and odour blocker all in one. It has trace VOCs. You can use this product inside and outside and it will block knots, sap streaks, water, mould stains and more. We've used Zinza Bin Aqua in our business on many occasions and it has never let us down. With that in mind, let's get back to the episode.
Yeah, that didn't pan out. They just made me shit myself loads, and that was about it. I stopped taking them after like 2 weeks. Couldn't sleep, fucking sweating buckets, couldn't focus. It was a mess. So yeah, the plus point to, no, that's the wrong fucking word, but taking a positive from that very negative situation. During this time, I'd started spending more time around my recently deceased friend's sister. Obviously, with the fact that everybody all of a sudden was coming out again because of, you know, we'd all found this thing to unify over. We'd just lost our best friend and, you know, we were all going to the pub again and like everybody was out and it was summer and there was a lot more social things, you know. I started to get close to his sister. And over the coming months, we started to form a relationship. Which was a very good relationship at the time. I enjoyed it. I mean, that's an understatement. I genuinely, through rose-tinted glasses, looking back at it, I felt like I'd found my future. It was, you know, it was my soulmate. It was all of that. The truth of it is, the further we got down the rabbit hole, the crack started to show. We were together for 3.5 years, 4 years. Got engaged. Got married, but looking back on it, I think it was a case of, Hayley nailed it, to be fair. Spin Justice podcast shout out.
Big shout out Hayley, yeah, to be fair.
She called it trauma bonding. I think
that's
what it was.
What was running through my head at the time.
Yeah,
mate, yeah.
Because we both had such a fucking life-shattering situation happen at the same time, and we were both at the lowest of the low. We'd found this little positive in this fucking horrible situation, was that we'd had a bit of a connection, and because of how low we both were, this little tiny connection that probably wouldn't register on most people's scales on a normal day was over the moon. It was like we both found this thing that
I would imagine, mate, as well. When you go through those kind of traumas, a lot of the time, the big feeling behind it is like nobody understands. Like, it's just me, I'm on my own, nobody understands. So to have found that person that was in that same trauma as you, it's that thing to hold. It's like, we'll save each other.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly that, yeah, exactly that. And for a time, that it worked. It was a big bandage on the wound for both of us. But yeah, ultimately it wasn't meant to be. And 3 months after the wedding day, we had a conversation, and she made it clear she was done.
3 months after the wedding.
3 months after the wedding. And that sent me on a really bad path, because I felt like it was unfair. It was unfair. It was like, you know, I've had this fucking shit childhood. Not shit childhood, but, you know, I'd had a lot of... There was a lot I didn't go over in my childhood thing, but I had this rough childhood.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Aaron, like, obviously I said earlier, I've listened to your previous podcast, so I know what you said previously about your podcast, and I think, about your childhood. I think just for the people listening to this, to kind of summarise it, it was unsettled.
Yeah,
unsettled to a large extent.
Yeah, a lot of chaos, a lot of back and forwards, no stability, and that was the big thing for me: stability, finding that sense of home, safety, belonging. Then I found my first marriage, and there was glimmers of home, safety, stability there, and then that just got fucking ripped out of my hands. And then with that second marriage, I'd finally found it. It was, we're fucking good. We are a good couple. This is it now. You know, we'd made massive plans for the future. How we're going to run our little property empire and all this bullshit that never fucking materialised. So when it did fall apart, I felt fucking cheated out of my future. I felt like I'd been robbed of my future. My stability was gone, and all of a sudden I was just cast into the fucking chaos again. And overnight, a fucking monster was created. I became... Some of the fucking situations I got myself into, I'm not proud of them at all. But because I was so fucking pissed off at the world, I was perfectly justified at the time. Fuck everybody. If you're not with me, you're fucking nobody. Scumbag mentality, scumbag behaviour. But that's exactly what I became.
Burn the world down.
Yeah, fuck it, burn the world down, burn fucking everything and everybody. Which is funny because I won't go into the story, but that almost happened. But yeah, I was, without going too deep into it, regularly engaged in criminality of a fucking heavy level, considering before I'd literally just come out of a very settled life with no real criminal interactions or violent interactions. All of a sudden, I just threw myself into the black and put myself in some fucking dangerous situations for many reasons. There could have been, I could have ended up dead. I could have ended up shot. I could have ended up in jail for a long fucking time. The stuff I was doing had big consequences to it, but I didn't give a fuck. I did not care. I was so done with existence and the way life had treated me up to this point.
Self-harm, mate.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I can resonate because I went through a similar period in my life, which I look back on. It's not about me, so we won't get into it, but there's a period in my life that I look back at now as self-harm. And that's what that sounds like to you. You were just in that burn the world, but really what it was you were in so much pain. That was your way of processing it and coping. Well, by the sounds of it, you didn't have the coping mechanisms for it. So your manifestation of that was...
I was so charged up at that time that, like, I wasn't getting any sleep. I've never been a massive drinker or drug taker. And at that time, even more so, I wasn't staying up for like 3 days on drugs. I was staying up for 3 days on fucking hate. And I was borderline psychotic at times. I'd flit so quickly from mood to mood that it'd be 1 minute fucking angry, next minute sad, next minute hopeful, next minute fucking volcanic temper. And then there's several people who'd inconvenienced me over this period of time, and I'd pick one of them at random and just go, I'm going to get them today. And I'd go get a car from somebody, a car that they wouldn't recognise. I'd go and park outside, I'm not going to say where, outside somewhere I knew they'd be, and then I'd follow them back to their house, and then I'd start intricately planning all fucking day how I'm going to do something to them, how I'm going to get even with them, how it's going to go down, how I'm going to get away with it. And the truth of it was, looking back on it, half the shit that I did, it's a miracle I didn't get caught for it, because none of it was well thought out. I was just fucking psychotic. Still to this day, like, I look at some of the things I did during that period of time, and I am fucking ashamed. Some of these people had so minorly inconvenienced me. Some of them fucking deserved it, but some of them were just people who'd voiced an opinion about me to somebody else, and an opinion about the breakup. Just said, like, because they didn't know the ins and outs of it. It was one particular person who said something about the breakup, and it was like, fucking, how can he like break up with her after everything she's been through? Which is a fucking fair statement, you know, not knowing the situation. I wasn't the one pulling the strings on the breakup, but that incensed me so fucking much. Like, how dare you have an opinion about my life? And I was at the point of, like, a person nearly got fucking their life nearly got changed because of that one little passing comment they made in a pub to somebody else who fed it back to me. Fucking sickening, scumbag behaviour. But yeah, so all of that chaos was going on in my head, and because of how charged I was and how scatty-brained I was and how, like, my heart rate was constantly up, my blood pressure was constantly up, it was almost like I was infected with anger. It just wouldn't go away. I had to find creative ways to dull that anger down. At work, I was a fitter for my company at the time, and it was quite a physical job, and that sort of helped because I was...
What were you fitting?
Was working on HS2, and we were fitting lockers and changing units and stuff. But it was long days, and it was very, very labour intensive. Obviously, HS2's fucking murder. Nobody wants to work on there because of all their regulations and whatever else. But I enjoyed the physical aspect of it. It's like all day long for 10, 12 hours, I was carrying lockers that weigh like 30 kilos up 2 flights of stairs, putting them in a room, walk back down, pick up another locker. That was the whole day, and we did that for fucking weeks and weeks on end. But around that time, I'd just started at this boxing gym, and the reason I started there was because I did a little bit of MMA in my early 20s. Saw that this gym had opened up in my area with a cage, and I thought, oh, I'll go down there and start doing some MMA. I'll pick that back up because, you know, I'm fucking single now. I've got all this time. And the MMA classes never actually got off the ground because of various reasons, but I was doing the boxing classes down there. But because I was so fucked up, I was training like twice a day. I was doing like 2 double sessions a day, and that's like 4 hours of training each day. I spent a period of time off work as well, so I was throwing a lot of time at the boxing gym. And when I wasn't there, I was at JD gym, lifting weights and whatever else, just trying to get rid of as much energy as I could possibly get rid of. But the truth of it is, that wasn't helping. It was probably taking the edge off. But I remember so many fucking times I'd be skipping, and my head would just start to go back to the breakup. And I'd lose all fucking motivation for it, and I wanted to just go and fucking sob in the corner. Same on the bag. I'd be eating the bag, and I'd be in my own head, and it was still there. But the one thing that I found did actually distract me was sparring. So I started to spar, and I always sparred above my level. I think because I had a little bit of an MMA background, I already kind of had a head start, but by no means was I a competent boxer when I first started. I was fucking shit. But you've got to bear in mind, I was very athletic at the time because I was doing a lot of fucking training, a very physical job. But I was trauma training as well. I was training like a fucking psychopath, so I was fit. I'm a big lad, strong. So when it would come time to spar, I'd fucking wade in. No real technique, just fucking bad intentions. And because of that, the lads would have to turn it on with me, and they'd have to fucking give me full force back. And I'm not saying I was good either, like the lads were fucking chewing me up, they were boxing my head off. But in that 2 minutes of the round, my fucking shit show of a life, all this revenge, this chaos, criminality, violence, these dark thoughts, all of this fucking shit didn't exist because I was so intently focused on the guy who was trying to take my head off that I didn't have time to think about any of this shit.
You can't be anywhere else, mate, can you?
No.
Mentally, you can't be anywhere else.
You are singularly present in that moment. You are so fucking tuned in. You can literally feel the atoms vibrating. You are that dialed into that fucking person that nothing else exists.
It's a form of meditation. You ever meditated?
No.
See, neither have I. Like, because the thought of it is like, I can't. If I try and sit in my thoughts, I've got too many thoughts.
Yeah.
I can't turn them off. But what I've done in my life is I've found meditation within doing stuff. So stuff that does focus you. I mean, like, I've gone through different stages, different things. But like, you know, I used to play football. All right, you can drift off a bit doing that. But even things like weight training, things like anything that brings you into that present moment.
Yeah.
Which is what you're doing with the fighting. It's just you have to be there in that moment because the consequence of not being there is you getting sparked out.
Yeah.
So that to me is meditation because the meaning of meditation is to be in the moment, fully in the moment.
Yeah.
Not anywhere else. It's the expression, you know, that saying, be at one. It took me a long time to learn what that meant.
I get that. And I think you are right. You are singularly focused on exactly what's in front of you and nothing else. And the byproduct of that is, well, everything else around me was fucking negative. So just to focus on something else, just for 2 minutes at a time, it felt like relief. How the fuck you can find calm in that complete and utter chaos that is sparring, at the time, baffled me, but it was soothing. Which to me was cathartic. It was like, I'm actually able to feel a bit of relief here. And like, you know, whenever I was doing anything else, my hurt was at 100 fucking %, all the way at 100%. But when I was sparring, it didn't exist. It was just dulled down. And then you'd have your 1 minute rest round, and it'd start to creep back in. Yeah. And then it was go time again, and then it went again. It was beautiful violence.
To be fair, mate, if you've got 100 thoughts of chaos, because the brain is an incredible thing, the amount of things you can think of in a short period of time is insane. If you could have 100 thoughts of chaos going on, but then when you're sparring, you've just got one singular bit of chaos in front of you that you can focus on, you can see. It's, you know, you would take that over the other, wouldn't you? I think most people would.
Yeah.
So it sounds like that's what you found in
those
it's
almost
moments.
like the less of two evils.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm getting annoyed in. Yes, I'm having to work really hard for this, but I'm not torturing myself. So yeah, that went on for well, to be fair, it wasn't a long period of time at all. The coach basically approached me one day and said, "Look, what do you want out of this?" He said, "Because you're training like a fucking lunatic at the minute. You're training twice a day. You're sparring with the big boys. You're doing well. You haven't been doing it very long, but you're doing it like a fucking professional athlete. Like, what's your end goal with this?" And I just said to him, I was like, "Look, I enjoy the sparring. I enjoy the distraction. My home life is a fucking shit show. Overnight, I've been effectively divorced, made homeless, suicidal. I'm uncertain of my future. I don't even know if I can work. I can't focus on anything for longer than a couple of fucking seconds." I was like, "But the sparring, I really get a lot out of it. But purely for the distraction." And he said, "Look, at the end of the day, you're focused, you're distracted for that 2 minutes." He said, "If you want true distraction, we need to think about booking you a fight." And I thought, well, I've only been doing this like 4 or 5 weeks at this point. I said, "I don't really know if I'm ready, Steve, like, but I don't know, what do you think?" He said, "I'm telling you, you're ready." He said, if you commit to that fight," he said, "I'm telling you now, all of this shit going on in your life, all of the chaos will just fall into white noise and you'll just be focused on that day in the calendar." So I said, "All right, fuck it, book me a fight." And he said, "Well, I'm already 10 steps ahead of you. I've got you one in 2 weeks." I was like, "Oh, fuck, here we go then." So I'd only been training less than 3 months before I had my first fight.
I take it this is unlicensed boxing at this point.
Gloved boxing, yeah. Gloved unlicensed boxing, so 3 2-minute rounds. I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, who am I fighting?" He said, "Right." He said, "Before I tell you, are you sure you want to fight?" He said, "'Cause once you commit to it, you can't go back on it." I was like, "Yeah, fuck it, I'll fight anybody, let's go. Who are we fighting?" He said, "Right, shake my hand." I shook his hand. I said, "Right, okay." He said, "You're fighting a guy named Josh Hone. He's had 20 fights. He's known for putting people unconscious. He's a very heavy-handed kid, and he's had a couple of bare-knuckle boxing matches as well. So he's very experienced. I was like, where's the butt? Where's the butt? Come on, you ain't selling this very well. And he said, but he's fighting at heavyweight. He said, but he's probably naturally like a light heavyweight or a cruiserweight. He's had 3 years off. He's ballooned up in weight, and he's sort of on his way back down. He's trying to get back to his own weight class. He said, so you're meeting him like 2 weight classes above where he should be, which tells us the tale that he's not fit. He said, you on the other hand are like a fucking robot at the minute. You just keep training and training and training. Your output's ridiculous. If your fitness equals to a higher level than his experience, you might just win this. I said, okay, sound, we've got to fight them. Now, from that moment, everything he said was true. I was entirely focused on the date in the calendar, although it was only 2 weeks away, which in hindsight was probably a benefit because I think 8 weeks would have been too far off to feel real. All I focused on was that fight. As soon as I got home, it was a bit of a buzz. Like, okay, fuck, I'm fighting in 2 weeks. What do I need to do? I need to tell everybody. Fuck it, so I'm messaging everybody, phoning people. Fighting in 2 weeks. Got tickets. Do you want to come and do the... Yeah, here's a guy I'm fighting. I'm sat there watching YouTube videos of this guy's fights, of which there's fucking loads because he's had loads of fights.
How was that feeling?
There was a little bit in me of like, well, I'm probably going to lose this. Like, this guy's good. But there was so much excitement around it. It's like, well, I don't really fucking care if I lose it. I've signed up now. I've committed to it. I feel like I've done a positive thing. So I need to just follow this thread and see where this leads, because my hurt was at 100% yesterday and it feels like it's at 99% today, which means that it's going down. So this must be the right thing to do. So yeah, all of a sudden it's like everything dials in. I'm having to go shopping to get certain foods so I can do my meal preps. They've got to be, I've got to cook them. I've got to clean up after myself. I've got to make sure that my schedule's clear so I can train this, and this. Well, all of a sudden, I am fighting in 2 weeks, so I need to actually think about my workouts. So I'm sitting down and writing down what boxes I need to tick, what I've noticed about him. All of a sudden now, all of these hours in the day that I'm spending fucking stressing about this shit show of a life that I've got and how bad things have got. Well, a big chunk of that now, I'm focusing on other shit. I'm focusing on this fight and everything I need to do to support that fight and make this fight happen. Even down to silly things like, well, what am I going to wear on the night? Boots. Okay, I need to go boxing boot shopping. My shorts. Fucking need my shorts. Okay, I've ordered some. Okay, I need to get them printed and I've only got 2 weeks. I'd found something that was distracting enough. Don't get me wrong, I was still fucked. I was still fucked up in the head. Anyway, fast forward. That 2 weeks went really quickly. I found myself on fight night. It was like I was like a kid at Christmas. There was no nerves. And I expected there to be. There was just an eagerness to get in there and do it. Got to the venue. It was a massive arena. I think it was like 1,500 people, 2,000 people, which is fucking big for an unlicensed boxing show. Watched the first couple of fights, and as I'm warming up, I can literally feel my focus just narrowing in and just becoming like pinpoint laser beam focus on what I'm about to do. There was no nerves, there was no fear, there was no anxiety. I just fucking wanted to do it. And they announced my opponent. He went out to the ring. I'm just fucking shadow boxing, just in my own zone. They announced me. I come out from behind the curtain. And I remember walking down that ring, the ring walk. And weirdly, I remember seeing the ropes and just thinking, that's the checkpoint here. Like, that's the bit I need to do. I just need to get through those fucking ropes. After everything that's gone on the last 3 months of my life, just to get through those ropes is a fucking achievement in itself, because a couple of months ago I could have very nearly ended up dead by my own hands or by the choices I was making. But if I can get through them ropes and I've achieved something fucking positive, the fight after that it didn't matter to me. It was just, can I fucking get this one positive out of this shit situation in my life? And I did it, got through the ropes. The fear never hit me. The nerves never hit me. I just remember feeling fucking proud of myself that I was in there. The ref called us together. we squared off, and I just fucking glared at him. And there was no anger in me. It wasn't malice or anything. It was just objective. It was just, you're just a box I need to fucking tick. I won't give you the play-by-play of the fight because you can watch it on YouTube. Aaron Ashton versus Josh Ho on CSL.
That was the first fight.
Yeah, it was the first fight, yeah. But it was a scrap. Watching it back now, my technique's horrible.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not fucking jabbing, I'm not slipping.
Thing to highlight, mate, because you said this coming in, I couldn't quite believe it. You've only been boxing for 3 years.
Just over 3 years, yeah.
Fucking mad, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, fair play, mate. Sorry, carry on.
We had this fight, and like I said, I went into this very much thinking I was going to lose, just because of how overmatched I was on paper. But as the fight went on, I got this sneaking suspicion that I was doing all right. We got to the end, the referee read his decision, and it was a draw. Now, for me, like you'll see it if you watch the video, like the opponent's pissed off that it's a draw. He ended up spitting at the judges and all sorts. But when the referee says it's a draw, I'm fucking jumping around in the ring going, yes, fucking yes. Because I'd fucking achieved something. I'd done something positive. A few months before that, I was up for killing myself. That's how low I'd got. I was comfortable with the decision that I'm probably not going to see Christmas. But then to go from that to achieving something, it felt amazing. And in the following days, after that fight, once it all started to like sink in properly, I realised that I'd found my purpose. And that was, don't get me wrong, I've got many purposes.
Mate, that word, that single word, I think is probably one of the most, certainly for men, one of the most important things that you can have. Because without that, you haven't really got anything.
No.
And to highlight your journey there, your purpose was completely swept out from under your feet with a breakdown of that relationship, because you'd built your purpose around, sounds like singularly around that relationship, what you were going to do in that relationship and moving forward. And that was your life purpose. So to have that taken away from you, and for any man to be in the same position, mate, I believe it is one of the key factors why people do end up taking their own life, because a life without purpose, what is it?
There was a philosopher, you'll probably be able to tell me who it is, who said, no wind is favourable if you don't know which port you're sailing to. Is that a new one for you?
It's a new one for me. I don't know the philosopher. No. I studied philosophy for a bit as well. I mean, Marcus Aurelius is my favourite of the philosophers, and the Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, they come out with
Friedrich Nietzsche.
Yeah. It amazes me. Like, I mean, Christ, there's some of the Russians have got some incredible
bikers
ones.
can read too.
Mate, it's but this is it though, isn't it? You've clearly got layers. You know, you mentioned before that people were taken aback to learn you're articulate, you're intelligent, and there's a lot. You know, it just shows that judging people book cover is fucking stupid.
Well, this is like where I found myself coming off that fight. So I'd found purpose. You know, I have got many purposes. One of them's partner, one of them's father. You know, my career is a big thing for me. But this was something that ticked a different box to everything else. This wasn't for everybody else. This was for me. This was something that did require an air of selfishness too, you know, because I know that you know boxers. There's no half measures with this shit. You're either in or you're out. There's no fucking 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You've got to commit all the way, because at the end of the day, boxing is high-level chess with dire consequences. If you fuck up, if you make the wrong move, you could have the rest of your life changed. You can certainly have your face changed really quickly. So, off the back of that first fight, I just went all in. Every part of me, every bit of spare time was training, learning more about boxing. I had a second fight booked, which was a good 4 or 5 months after, so I got to really like hone my skills for this one and like really dial in for my training. Started sparring with some fucking tough guys, like going to other gyms and starting to build up a bit of a circle of connections. And the second fight kind of confused me, because I trained really hard for this fight. The promoter told me that this guy was, he said he's like Romanian mafia. He said he's your opponent's a fucking nasty guy. he says they're like, this is the sort of geezer they lock in a cage and break him out in case of a war. He's a nasty motherfucker. Which to me was like, oh, fuck yeah, this is a bit more like it. Like, if I can get in there and hang in there with him, then I'm somebody. And it motivated me. I trained really fucking hard for that fight. And got there on the night, did the ring walk, got in the ring, had one good look at him, and he couldn't even look me in the eyes. I knew I'd been sold a fucking lemon. Like, I set about him and stopped him in less than 2 minutes. His corner threw the towel in because he was just taking that much of an iodine. It was just, he was fucking massively overmatched, and this was my second fight. Obviously, I was training very hard and making a lot of sacrifices in that run up to it. I was taking my daughter to the gym with me all the time. She'd see me get a fucking iodine in sparring.
You go to your fights?
She's been to a couple, yeah. Not the Bare-Knuckle. I wouldn't subject her to that. Not yet, anyway. But she's been around me boxing and boxing environments and stuff. She's comfortable with it. But because of how many sacrifices I'd made for that fight and the fact I just went through him like a hot knife through butter, I felt let down. I felt like unfulfilled. It didn't scratch the itch. Like I say, I won. It was the first fight I ever won. And they raised my hand and I just couldn't fucking wait to get out of the venue. I just felt like shit. I was really disheartened. And that, over the coming weeks, I kind of started to make sense of it, and I realised that this is how I knew I was still a bit fucked up by the breakup. Because I didn't have a hard fight, because I didn't have a war, because I had nothing back, I didn't get hurt, didn't land a glove on me, I didn't feel anything. I just went in there, threw a load of punches, the fight got stopped. I didn't feel anything, no physical pain. No stress, no pressure, nothing. It didn't even fucking register. My heart rate didn't even go up. And then this is what, in retrospect, I think I'm past it now. I think now I just enjoy a fucking scrap. But I think at the time, I think boxing was almost a form of self-harm for me. Like a healthy form of self-harm, but still self-harm.
Well, was it when you were saying that, mate? Is what I was thinking. It's that. Obviously, not taking anything away from people that do self-harm, that choose to do things to themselves. But I guess as a proud man yourself, there's an element of shame, and people hide that. Whereas if you can go in there in a ring and put yourself in a position where you know you're going to get hurt, but there's a slight desire that you want to get hurt, there is an element of self-harm to that. Yeah,
and I feel that I've never self-harmed in the conventional sense. But my favourite fights are the ones I've lost. Weirdly, this is what I said to you earlier. I don't give a fuck about wins, losses and draws. They don't mean anything to me. War. I want the fight. I want the fucking scrap. I want the violence. I want the blood. I want the sweat. I want the tears. I want the broken noses and bones and fucking ears hanging off. That's what I want. Now it's not because I want to feel something, because it fucking hurts. I'm not too proud to admit that. But I enjoy the feeling that you get when the closest you can get to feeling alive is when you are closest to death, in my personal opinion. And when you're fighting for your life, which you effectively are in like a bare-knuckle boxing match, it very much feels like life and death in that moment. And you really feel alive, the most alive you can possibly feel. Obviously, I've not had a no-rules fight, so I can't really comment on that, but that's the only fucking step up for me, and that's off the table. So, yeah, as my boxing journey went on, the reason I got into bare-knuckle, I've kind of gone a roundabout way there, I think was from my desire to really feel something. Gloved boxing started to feel a little bit like paid sparring.
How many gloved boxing fights did you have?
5.
What was your record?
All wins apart from 1. No, sorry.
Apart from the draw?
No, it was more than that. It was 7. I had 3 draws, 3 wins, 1 loss. And then I had my first bare-knuckle. I
want to touch on that moment, Aaron, to be fair. So what was the transition? At what point, or how did that happen where you went, okay, I'm done with the gloves? Or how did that offer come in? Or how did that come about where you went from glove to bare-knuckle?
I sorted out myself. And to be honest, it happened in the run-up to my second fight. So I had the first fight, really enjoyed it. Then when I said earlier, I started moving around gyms. I went to a gym over in, I think it's Kings Norton, called Fitness Factory. Fitness Factory is home to Dan Podmore. He's changed gyms now, but at the time he was training there under Simon Haycock. Dan Podmore is the current Bridgerweight BKB world champion. Former heavyweight.
I knew I'd heard the name. Yeah.
Mate, he's a fucking bare-knuckle legend. Now he's a good mate of mine at this point and like regular sparring partner, etc. They've also got Conatini there, who's the BKFC. Fucking phenomenal guy. They've got George Thorpe.
Yeah, he just beat Danny Christie, didn't he?
Yeah, epic fight that was.
Well, Danny Christie's a legend on that circuit, isn't
he? George Thorpe also trains there, another guest of Haley's. Connor was on Haley's as well, actually. Chris Trez trains out of there. Ricky Nelder. Like bare-knuckle fucking legends train out this gym. And when I went over there, and that was in the run-up to that second fight, trained with a few of those guys, only a handful of times I saw how human these people were, and these were people that I'd just seen on YouTube doing bare-knuckle boxing, but all of a sudden I'm having conversations with them, and it's like, nothing that separates them from me, other than skill at this point. And I sparred a bit with Podmore that time, got my fucking arse handed to me, sparred a bit with George Thorpe, got my arse handed to me. But it lit a little fire in my head. I thought, well, the only thing separating me from them is experience. And at the minute, I'm probably banking more experience per year than most people are every 2-3 years because of my intensity. I was training 6 times a day. 6 times a week, sometimes multiple times a day. So I think after my 4th fight, I put the feelers out and messaged a guy in Stoke named Stefan Hanks, who runs the Bad to the Bone promotion, which is a well-regarded bare-knuckle promotion, and just asked for a shot. And he basically said, look, come over to my gym. We have Sunday sparring. We'll get you sparring with some of our lads. And if you're up to it, I'll give you a contract there and then. But, okay, sounds fucking easy. So I went up there, sparred, had some good fucking rounds with these lads, held my own. And yeah, he offered me the contract. And then all of a sudden it was just like, oh, okay, we're doing something now. Like, this is real. The whole boxing journey for me has constantly been a set of levelling up. Obviously skill-wise, but I've learnt to understand the game a little bit better. And there's little things that have happened along the way that have, there's been a first for everything. There's been a first fight, first bare-knuckle fight. There's also been a first time travelling to another gym, a first podcast that I've done, or a first promo reel that I've cut.
Yeah.
And
mate, your last one, by the way, on your Instagram looks epic.
Which one was
that?
that?
Straight off Lock Stock.
Oh yeah.
Looks quality there.
Yeah, that was a good one.
For anyone obviously listening, go and check out Aaron's Instagram page and look, it's pinned, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of the top ones.
Straight out of Lock, Stock and Two Smoke, or Snatch.
You've got a massive attack playing. It's perfect.
I mean, not to go too far, mate. Have you been offered anything in terms of like filming, camera work, films, that kind of stuff?
So I actually filmed a very small role in a boxing movie a couple of weeks ago.
Really?
Which was filmed at my gym. I play the role of corner man just shouting abuse at one of the boxers, which is perfect for me, really. But I'm also, I've been offered one in a couple of months' time called Fight or Flight, which is a no rules. It's a film about no rules fight clubs.
Okay.
And I play a no rules fighter, who's ironically a biker.
I was going to say I could see it going that way, but yeah, sorry, mate.
I'm glad you said that, to be fair, because that's something I want to explore more. You know what it is? Like, this is what I want, a bit of advice I would give to anybody who's a half-talented boxer on the unlicensed scene, bare-knuckle scene or whatever. Obviously, be focused on your training, be focused on your fights, your diet, your nutrition, all of that shit's so fucking important. Obviously, do that. But start investing in your own character as well. Start doing random shit that's out your comfort zone, like a podcast. Go and do a fucking podcast. If you've got an interesting story, if you haven't got an
interesting story, DM me.
Yeah. Just use your fucking head. Get your face out there more. If somebody mentions something about a film, go and fucking do it. If a promoter asks you to sit in front of the camera and ask you a few questions, don't say, oh, I don't really like talking to cameras. If your face isn't out there, no one's going to give a fuck about you. You can be the most talented boxer in the world. If no one knows your name, you don't exist. So, and you are your own marketing man. Nobody else is going to do it for you.
Sales, isn't it?
Yeah, if you want to be remembered.
I must admit, mate, from what I've seen of the bare knuckle world, the lads, the gents that are in that industry do seem to be the characters.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's something that separates you from the boxers, or there's got to be something that, you know, to want to do what you do, mate. I mean, it's externally, right? So I'm not a fighter, but externally, like, I enjoy watching fights, and the difference watching a bare knuckle to a boxing match to a UFC fight is, to be honest with you, it's the blood.
Yeah.
The blood, the gore, you know, it seems to get bloody real quick.
Yeah.
It's one shot will open you up, because obviously it's skin to bone, bone to bone. And I guess, if I'm honest, mate, you've got to be wired a certain way to want to do that.
I think people, as I did in my first fight, to be fair, you go into bare knuckle with rose tinted glasses. So for anybody who hasn't seen it, my first fight, I got a right hook in my eardrum, and it cut the inside of my ear. I ended up with 9 stitches on the inside and 6 stitches on the top. My ear was literally cut into 3 pieces. And blood fucking came hammering out. And, you know, obviously it knocked my equilibrium because it hit me in the ear. But I think I was a bit naive going in. Obviously, I knew it could get nasty. But the impact that has on your psyche when that first happens to you is fucking massive. If you're going to get into bare knuckle, you've got to prepare yourself for the feeling of being overwhelmed. More so in my second fight against Mark Godbeer, there was a point in the fight where he threw a sort of leaping left hook and it hit me square in the in my forehead, just inside my hairline, and it opened up a massive cut. I sort of backed away, and as I backed away, the blood jumped out the front of my head. I literally saw the blood come cascading down. And while I'm trying to fight this 6'4" monster, I'm also wiping blood out my eyes. But it's such an overwhelming feeling that nothing can really prepare you for, to see your own fucking claret and still have to function through it. You know,
I don't think there's many that cut. The other thing worth saying, mate, is you're a big lad. So you're fighting heavyweights. So everything that's thrown is with bad intentions.
Yeah, everything can cut.
There's a lot of weight behind everything coming your way.
Yeah, and fights are stopped quickly in bare knuckle. You know, I've had 3 fights now. I've never made it out of the second round.
I would imagine particularly heavy. I mean, don't get me wrong, mate. I wouldn't want to take a shot from you because you're a big lad. But again, the lads that you're fighting are equally as big.
Yeah, fucking hell.
So everything that's landing is potentially a fight ender.
Yeah. And on the other aspect of it, being a heavyweight, well, I'm actually a bridgerweight in BKB because the way their weight classes work, but being a big 100 kilo plus guy, when you're hitting heavy. You ain't got no gloves on. Your hands get fucked up. In my last fight on BKB, I had my opponent, Ant Scottford, in the clinch, which is where you sort of wrap the back of the neck and you can keep throwing shots. I hit him that many times in the clinch that my right hand was fucking sore. It got to a point where I didn't want to hit him anymore with that hand. Like, even the winners, I lost that one in the end, but even the winners in bare knuckle get fucked up. Nobody gets out alive. Everybody gets hurt. And that's something you got to prepare for, because you can have X amount of gloved bouts, gloved sparring, whatever. Bare knuckle is entirely fucking different. This is why you get... There was a fight on BKFC the other week, the Birmingham card. It was Jack Dugdale, who's an experienced bare knuckle guy. I think he's had 5 BKB fights, won all of them. Good lad. Versus, fucking name escapes me now. But he was the most prolific amateur boxer the UK's ever produced. Frankie Gavin, fighting out of Worcester. He's done things in amateur boxing that most people could only fucking dream of. He's switched over to pro boxing, had a really good career up until he fought Kell Brook. He was at that level, you know, he's fighting like the top tier guys. I don't know fuck all about amateur or pro boxing, but I know Kell Brook's a big name. He came over to BKFC, obviously a little bit past his prime, and he got stopped in like 40 seconds. Now this guy, like, doesn't fucking lose boxing matches. He's fantastic, but because he's never been hit without a glove on.
There's a few, mate. I mean, you see that with some of the UFC lads. I mean, I know, like, with BKFC, the champ over there, like Mike Perry, but he wasn't amazing. I mean, don't get me wrong, he made the UFC, so he was incredible. but he wasn't like top tier UFC. But then he's gone to bare knuckle, and he's ploughing through some of the people that were way better than him at UFC. I know he took out like Luke Rockhold,
Shattered his teeth.
Yeah, like one shot, and like he said himself, he's like they haven't felt bare knuckle, and the minute they do, you can see the like Eddie Alvarez he beat as well.
Yeah, that was
which
a
again in
nasty fight.
UFC you'd have thought that both of those guys would have took out Mike Perry.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a different world, mate, by the looks of it.
Bare knuckle boxing is like it's a very level playing field. For many reasons. In gloved boxing, somebody can be so technically proficient that they can effectively not get hit. They can just hide behind the guard, soak up any shots that do get thrown, parry and slip the rest of them, move the red, get out of the way, and land their punches in bunches, and then eventually just pick that one count shot and bang. But in bare knuckle, there's no guard. There's no safety in bare knuckle. You're never safe. If you tuck up, there's so much surface area that can still get hit and cut, and even getting hit in your hands when you're covering your head. Some 100-kilo guys fucking throwing right hooks at my left hand. It's going to break my hand. This is why, like my second fight, I fought Mark Godbeer. Mark Godbeer is an ex-UFC fighter, ex-Bellator fighter. He was a BKB heavyweight champion. Fucking hell, he's literally fought on more promotions than I've had fights. He's been champion of these promotions. Fucking fantastic combat sports athlete. It was my second bare knuckle fight. He'd probably had like 10 at this point, maybe 15. I don't know, he's been around a bit. Big, athletic, strong boy. And we had a fight, and on paper, I shouldn't have been in that fight. It was a fucking second fight. I shouldn't be fighting somebody who's been at the top tier of combat sports the last 15 years.
Why did you end up in that fight?
Couple of reasons. One, money, and two, because nobody else would fight him.
Right.
So that for me is like a big badge of honour. Like, I'll fight you. I don't give a fuck who you are. Like, all respect to him. I literally grew up watching this guy on TV, so I do mean
That must have been a moment, mate.
Yeah, it was.
Walking into that. I mean, that's another thing, actually, for people that don't know what bare knuckle involves, because I've seen all sorts, mate. I've seen it in hay bales. Do you know what I mean? That tiny little square.
Big fighting,
yeah. So just to clarify, like, what bare knuckle is, like, how and where does it take place in terms of the environment, cage, ring, circle, octagon?
So it varies. Two of my fights have been in a conventional ring. One was in an arena. The one against Mark Godbeer, because it was his retirement fight, it was on his hometown. It was basically in a social club. So you had some fucking like big time, well known athlete, Mark Godbeer, some fucking lunatic biker, is what everybody seems to think I am, from the Midlands, having a fucking tear up in front of about 200 people, bare knuckle. And then the most
in a boxing
square,
ring,
yeah. And then my most recent fight on BKB, it's in what they call a Trigon, which is a triangle. Don't know why they don't call it a triangle. It's a marketing thing, I'm guessing, but whatever. Call it whatever you want to call it. As long as I can hit somebody in it, I'm fine. Now that for me is the most interesting combat arena you could fight in. The idea of it being a triangle is, if it's a square ring, you can move off. You can get out of a corner quite easy. You just fucking pat them one way, go the other way, and job's good done. You ain't got that in a corner. You've got to go forward. You've got to go through that guy that's in your way.
It's as close to pit fighting as you can get without it being pit fighting.
Yeah, it's literally pit fighting, but not in a static environment. You are you're in the pocket the whole time. You're just moving around this triangle. You don't want to get backed into a corner because there's only one way out, and it's a fucking hard slog to get out. Add that in with the clinch rules, the fact you can tie people up, and add that into the fact that you can't wrap the arms in BKB, because if there's any inactivity, they will break you, they will separate you and get you straight back to fighting. So it's the most fast-paced, chaotic fight, like environment for you to have a fight in you could possibly imagine.
How long are the rounds?
3 minutes. 6 3-minute rounds we were scheduled for in the last one. Fucking hard graft. Especially when you consider that we're effectively heavyweights with big lads.
I wouldn't imagine many go 6'3s.
No. But yeah, bare knuckle is exactly what it says on the tin. It's a boxing match with no gloves on. The rings and
do you wrap the hands? Do you provide any protection?
They wrap the wrists. They wrap the wrists and the thumb So it's just to stop any big breaks there. But I have had broken metatarsals, metacarpals, one of the two. I've had knuckles knocked back out the sockets. I've had my hands were like pumpkins after the last fight, massively swollen. Got really good at wiping my arse with my left hand.
Mate, skills.
Yeah, mate. That's
growth.
The biggest thing I've learned from bare-knuckle boxing is how to wipe my arse with broken hands. And I've learned a lot about myself in the process, but that's small stuff. Can we just have a quick break?
Yeah, man, of course. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
And we're back.
Hi, guys.
But yeah, mate, where were we?
Yeah, so the bare-knuckle, it's a fucking mad world.
The question, have you ever done the pit fighting?
No.
Would you ever do it?
I would have, but I'm
more professional now.
Well, yeah, it's like so that sort of stuff's based around ticket sales. When I say that, I mean the way that you will generate an income from having that fight is based on the amount of tickets you can sell. So you earn commission on the tickets. But those sorts of shows, they're not a big draw. They're not. Don't get me wrong, they're a spectacle, and I do respect anybody who's got the balls to get in there. So don't get confused. It takes fucking balls to jump in there this far away from somebody and just throw down until one of you goes to sleep. That takes some bollocks. But for me, it's like, unless you're going to pay me 1,500 quid to do it, there's no point. And plus, at this point, I'm a contracted athlete. So if I did
move beyond it.
Yeah. A couple of years ago, if somebody waved some notes in my face and said, I'd have had to go. But it just doesn't really appeal to me.
Where do you see it going, Aaron? Like, I mean, we had a little talk beforehand, but yeah, wait, what do you want? Because one of the questions I was going to ask you regarding like bare knuckle, in terms of like bare knuckle versus boxing, or the like, I guess the facial damage you lads can take, is there less of a lifespan in the sport? Because like, I don't know. Again, to pare it back, because like I said before, I watch a lot of UFC, but some certain UFC fighters, like the Diaz brothers, like Nate Diaz or Nick Diaz, have got so much scar tissue, they then cut in UFC very easily. And I would imagine with what you do, having like a build-up of scar tissue would be really detrimental, because you're going to open up very quickly.
Yeah, so you look at that Danny Christie fight that we talked about for the weekend, a large reason that got stopped was because of the cuts. And the reason he had so many cuts, I follow it, and I saw one of his videos on YouTube afterwards, and he said that even the doctor laughed at how much scar tissue he had, said never seen anything like it.
Really?
Yeah, so if you've got a lot of scar tissue in bare knuckle, you're going to get cut really easy. You get cut really easy in bare knuckle, your fight's over. For me, that wouldn't be as much of a problem because of the fact I got started late in the game. Yeah. I haven't got much scar tissue. I seem to have pretty fucking tough skin.
In fairness, mate, I said this again before we recorded. I said, looking at you, like when you walk in, you think bare knuckle is a brutal fucking sport. But looking at you, I would not go, oh, he clearly is a bare, because your face, you're not covered in scars, you're not chewed up, you don't look like you've been through a meat grinder.
Yeah, my ears tend to take all the damage. Yeah, every fight I've had, I've come out of it with two different size fucking ears. I have got a few cuts, the God beer one, but it's up in my hair. I've got one under my beard, I've got one in my hairline around here. I've got a little one under my eye in the last fight. Got a lot of teeth marks in my hands. But I don't seem to have it. What would happen for me, I think what would be the stopping point for me, other than age, is hand damage. I have considerably damaged my hands in every single fight. The first fight was 1.5 minutes long, and I broke bones in my hand. The second fight was 3 minutes long, and I pushed one of my knuckles back like 1/2 inch, compressed the bones behind it. The third fight, I didn't have any breaks, but it was 2.5 months ago, and my hands still hurt now. I still can't hit. I can hit a bag full force, but I know about it afterwards. So there will come a point. I'm trying to fight like 3 times a year, bare knuckle. There will come a point where all of those little injuries add up to a point where I can't pick a fucking kettle up. And when I can't make myself a cup of tea through hand injuries, then that's game over for me.
How many fights do you see yourself How many have you had?
I've had 3 bare knuckle.
How many do you see yourself having?
Probably 10 total.
So in the next 7 fights, what would you want to achieve if you could?
Other than a win, which is what I'm fucking desperately chasing at the minute. Don't let that fool you. Like, although I've not got any wins on my bare-knuckle record, my first fight I wasn't ready for, and Stephen Rook is a fucking good fighter. He's now gone on to BKB as well. The guy who punched my ear off. A lot of respect for him. I wasn't ready for that fight. Mentally ready. Physically, yeah. Mentally, no. My second fight was against Mark fucking Godbeer, who is ex-world champion.
Yeah.
And I fucked him up. He did stop me, but in the process, tore his retina, broke his nose, fucking cut his head wide open. I left my mark. And then my third fight, which was against Ant Scotford. Ant Scotford's a fucking murderer. If you watch the fight, which I fucking implore you to do, it was by far the most entertaining, violent fight of the night. We had a fucking tear up. So although I've got 3 losses, they are some of the most entertaining fights you'll see, some of the most violent fights you'll see. I'm no mug. Like, my record doesn't reflect how much of a fucking hard time you're going to get if you have a fight with me.
To be fair, Aaron, I don't. I mean, I've seen the stuff that you've posted. I've looked at them. I agree, 100%. And I think it's a different sport. So with it being bare knuckle, that win or loss is on such a knife edge. Do you know what I mean? It's not that you've been in there and been completely outclassed.
Yeah. And the caveat to that is, no one cares about the losses. They care about the level of violence and the entertainment factor. If I was a gloved boxer and had 3 losses, you're going on the road, mate. Nobody gives a fuck. But in bare knuckle, like, every time I've lost, I've leveled up. My first loss opened up an opportunity to fight Mark Godbeer. Losing to him opened up a fucking contract with BKB. I joke about it, but the way I'm losing fights, I'm going to lose my way straight into a world title.
How funny is that? Yeah, mate, do you know what? It's the only sport, you're right, yeah. To lose a fight and win a contract off the back of it. But as I say, I think anyone that knows the sport has got to realise that that win-loss thing is so razor thin in that sport that it can just,
I'd arguably say I was winning that last fight. It was close enough, but I'd say I had the edge. And I just got caught, short right hand, bang, went down, got back to my feet. Still hadn't composed myself, and he hit with a flurry, and I went down, and I was just fucked at that point. But that's bare knuckle, like you say. It's anybody's fight, and this is why a guy like me, who's a novice, can go and fight an ex-world champion, and it be a fair fight because it's bare knuckle. But yeah, as for where it ends for me, I'm 37 now. I'll be 38 in January. I'm aiming for 40. If I can get a few wins together, and like earn a bit of money in the process, obviously, and wrap it up by the time I'm 40, I'll be happy. But the big thing for me is legacy. I just want to be fucking remembered, and I don't want to be some fucking global superstar. That's not what I mean. I want my daughter to be able to say, my dad's Aaron Ashton, and it fucking means something, and that have some value to it. And not in a sense of, you don't want to mess me up, my dad will beat you up. But like, I want her to be proud of me. I want her to go, look at what my fucking dad achieved. He went through some shit in his life. Life kept pushing him back, and he just kept fucking getting back up and kept pushing forward. And that's what he achieved. That's my fucking dad. That's what I want out of this legacy. When I feel like my legacy's cemented, I'm done.
That's a beautiful thing, mate. The one thing I've got to ask you, because we've touched on the importance of purpose and that you found your purpose in that, with knowing that eventually, whether that's 40, whether that's 45, whether that's 50, eventually there'll be that expiration on the boxing that has saved you essentially and pulled you out of that dark place. Have you considered what your purpose is going to transfer to?
Yeah. I had it, to be honest, the thought terrified me for a while. Because boxing has been so all-encompassing for me, and it's been the answer to all of my problems. The idea of not being able to do it, not being able to compete at a high level, not being able to train at a high level, like, for a while, that was genuinely something that fucking put the frighteners up me. Because it's took me all my life to find boxing.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to find something that replaces this overnight. But I genuinely think that I'll always have a hand in boxing, but doing stuff like this, doing stuff like the movies, doing stuff like commentating fights, refereeing fights, just being around the scene, coaching lads.
I was just going to say, could you see yourself turn into coaching?
Eventually, yeah. Now, to be honest, I feel like I'd be doing people a disservice by
Mate,
taking the money.
You're in it yourself right now.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, I guess, from a point of concern, from listening to your story, it's just that, I guess, with where you are at the minute, 3 fights in, mate, you're just getting started. So it's almost like you're closer to the beginning of your journey in Bare-Knuckle than you are your end.
Yeah.
But it's that, like, just hope, like, from my side, speaking to you man to man, is like, well, I hope, you know, at the end of this, whenever that might be, that there's something that you can pour that purpose.
There has to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like we've discussed, purpose is so fucking important.
That's it, man.
If I haven't got that thing to focus on, then, well, it just leads into the negativity again.
I mean, the other thing to touch on, because one of the other things I've seen, mate, again on your socials, your walkouts look pretty fucking epic.
They are...
Mainly because you're surrounded by your club, and it is quite a fucking sight, mate. I mean, for your opponents to be stood in the ring watching that coming toward, I mean, that in itself has got to go in your favour. But how much of a part has being part of the club played, again, for, like, supporting your mental health? I mean... I know you know Chris Booth, but former guest to the podcast, and we talked a lot about how that brotherhood that he's found with Men of the Breath of Life has, again, given him massive purpose, pulled him out of a lot of darkness. You've got a brotherhood yourself in the club. How much of a benefit is that?
So the club's been quite a recent addition. I've been around them for a few years. I've got some close friends who are in the club. But I'd say it's been over the last sort of 8 months that I've gone, like, all in with the 81 Sport crew. This is where, like, I've slowly learned that over the last couple of years that something has been missing from my life. Prior to finding boxing, I didn't really have any positive male role models around me, or, you know, people who were dependable and whatever. I had friends, I had good time friends, I had pub friends. Obviously, I had a few good close mates, like my friend who passed away, and various others. But since I found boxing, I found myself around, like, my coach, Steve Holloway. He is somebody who is as close to me as a brother. Somebody who wasn't in my life before boxing and owes me nothing. There's no allegiance there. That, you know, there's no, well, he grew up around me, that's why he's got a soft spot for me. I just walked into his fucking gym one day. But having somebody like him, who is a strong-minded bloke, who's been around, he knows life, he knows the good bits, he knows the bad bits, he knows relationships, he knows that when they succeed, when they fail, fucking everything, money, finances, business, everything. I've never really had that. And then I've got another mate, I won't say his name because he's quite a secretive individual, who lives a very alternative sort of lifestyle. And having him as, like, a strong male role model to be around, so, like, that was another guy that I never had anybody like that. I realised the benefit of having strong fucking blokes around you. Then when I started boxing with the club, it's very much more of the same as having people like that, but it's much more organised, and there's levels of expectations placed upon you, which I think is a fucking good thing, because you should be accountable.
Yeah.
You know, you are, when you're in the club or the support crew, you're very much seen as a singular unit. Like, you're not individuals. You're a fucking solid thing. You are a unit. You're a pack. You are the club. You're not fucking Aaron.
So your behaviour also represents the club.
Yeah.
Therefore, you're accountable.
Yeah, and they expect certain standards, which is, you know, they're not like standards in the sense of you will wear this, you will eat that, you'll da-da-da. It's standards in the sense of these are the morals that you should subscribe to, and they're fucking good morals. Be honest. Like, you can't lie. You cannot be a liar around us. One, because it's fucking disrespectful to bullshit me, and two, because we'll find out. If you find out, well, you ain't in no more, and you lose all of the benefits that come with it. By benefits, I'm not talking about any monetary gain or anything else. I'm talking about, it's such a fucking important thing to have a solid group of people around you who can, A, prop you up when you ain't at your best, B, big you up when you're doing your best, and C, hold you accountable for your bullshit when you ain't being honest with yourself. You know, we're all together for a singular purpose. We've all got mutual love of motorbikes. That's the bottom line of it. But it's more than that. We're all like-minded lads. We're all, like, let me tell you now, nobody in there is a mug. There's none of life's victims in the club. Everybody who's in there is trying to get the most out of life. There's a lot of like business owners in there. There's a lot of, like, this is what I mean. It's different to the public perception, because the public perception of bikers is just, oh yeah, they're just thugs who like to ride around on bikes and fucking drink and party and not wash for 3 days and whatever. And don't get me wrong, those fucking bikers.
Hey, listen, you walked in the door, I thought this man smells good, so I can attest to the fact that they do wash.
Well, I'm trying to change the public persona, but like, don't get me wrong, those bikers do exist. Like, you know, say no names, but you're expected to fucking represent yourself in a positive way. But the other thing of it is, I feel like I'm explaining it quite badly, but
I don't, mate. I think what I'm trying to get at is the importance, and I don't want to go down too much of a rabbit hole because I could, because I'm quite, in terms of like where society is at the minute and where a lot of men are struggling, is again not knowing their place. You know, there's a lot of men, and you touched on it earlier when you mentioned like the working class. Actually, part of it is they almost need that violence.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like the fighting, and there's a part of it that's in our nature.
Yeah.
And much the same as you looking back at, you know, you said before that we've still got the caveman like software. I've studied evolutionary psychology, so same thing. We're still tribal. We're tribal creatures. What you've done with the club is you found your tribe.
100%.
And there's so much value and, again, purpose to being a part of that, because you're held accountable for your actions. You're holding other people accountable for their actions. And I think if you rewind the clock again another, I don't know, 300-400 years, religion did that.
Yeah.
I'm not a religious man, but I'm quite in favour of like Christian morals, because it was like, you know, love thy neighbour, look after people. Generally speaking, and not to go into the crux of religion, but mostly in that religion, it was positive and supportive of those in your community, but you were held to judgment by your religion, and that, again, kept people, I guess, on the right track. If you think that you've got the overarching, whoever it might be, that you're being held accountable by, whether that's God or any other religious entity, it kept people on that straight and narrow path, because you're always thinking, you know, well, so somebody's watching.
I don't want to fuck up because I'm going to have to answer for it.
So what you've got in the club is kind of a similar thing, really.
Very much so. Very much so.
And I think that is really, again, mate, like I said, I think that's what is lacking. And I think that a lot of things in society now have been taken away and nothing's been put in to replace it. So I see a group of strong men coming together like you guys do, and I think, you know, I can see the pull, because it's that purpose, you know, the brotherhood, the friendship, the accountability, and I think they're all really fucking important.
Massively. And if you're not fortunate enough to already have that, you're missing out. You know, some people have, like the pub. I always use the pub as an example because I've never really been a pub goer. The idea of finishing work and going straight to the pub and drinking fucking 8 pints and talking shit to the same people every night baffles me. It's not growth. It's just a slow fucking spiral. But a lot of people have that as their social circle, which, fair play, each to their own. But it's not for me. Boxing gym is a bit of a social circle, but when you're pressed for time like I am, you know, I train twice a day most days. So I train like 5 o'clock in the morning, start work at 7, leave work at 5, start boxing at 6, leave there at 7:30, go back, eat, shower, sleep. That's me, Monday to Friday, generally. With an occasional rest day thrown in here and there. Well, that doesn't leave me very much time to socialise with the gym people in the morning or the gym people in the evening. The bike club, that's where, whenever I'm with them, I'm not working, it's not like I've got to train, it's not like I've got to do this, got to do that. I've just got to go and check in with these people, make sure they're good. They'll make sure I'm good. We'll talk shit. We'll abuse each other. We'll have a laugh. But we'll plan stuff. It gives you stuff to look forward to. And there's positive stuff that we're doing all the time. I mentioned to you earlier, we had an open day where we basically invited various other bike clubs and anybody who wanted to come, basically, to an open day that we had at a local pub. I don't know the numbers, but I think about 600-700 people turned up. It was fucking rammed. And the whole aim of the day was to raise money for the family of a club member who passed away in Newcastle, Chris Brown. And we raised around £1,600 for his family. Again, massive community thing. Like, you had neighbours from the pub who they had no associations to bike clubs. They just saw there was a family thing going on, which is very much what it is. It's a family thing. And they came over. We also raised £800 for Dudley Spartans, which is a youth football team. Like, my friends aren't doing this. Like, the club is. The club's very... And the other thing I love about the club as well, it's very family first. So everybody in that club, apart from maybe 1-2 people I know, have got kids. And the families are incorporated into it. Like, our clubhouse, it's the only clubhouse I know to that's got like a kids play area in there. But all of like my kids know other lads' kids. Yeah. They know other lads' kids. They all go on holiday together. They're always doing... Everybody knows everybody. My girlfriend knows the other club members' girlfriends. So it's not just like we've got this brotherhood. We've got an external community around it.
Mate, again, something else that's being torn out of our society now is community. And by generating that again, mate, it's great to see. I saw a couple of... How long ago was it now? It don't really matter. Not that long, maybe a couple of months ago. I was on my way back from Snowdon, actually. We'd done a charity climb at Snowdon. Oh, okay. And so I was coming through, like, your direction. And there must have been a bike meet with your club and associated clubs. And the road was stopped. And, mate, it's a spectacle, man. There must have been about 40, 50 bikes come past.
Yeah.
Mate, it's...
and I'll tell you what...
I'll be honest, it looks cool as fuck.
Yeah,
so
I was just about to say...
I'll be like, that looks fucking mint. The other thing is, mate, I was a big fan of Sons of Anarchy as well, so I was like, you know...
Yeah, never got past season 1, but I keep meaning to get back to it. That is the other thing, like, all of the spiel aside, like, yes, it's a fucking brotherhood, yes, it's a community and everything else, and I fucking 100% believe in all of that stuff. But riding in a pack, like when we did a funeral, the guy whose family we were raising money for, we went to his funeral in Newcastle, and there was 1,000 bikes on that funeral procession. Now, because the police were expecting a massive turnout, they closed the Tyne Tunnel to all normal traffic apart from the funeral procession.
The sound of that one there, mate.
Yeah, mate, like, I didn't know this guy. He was just a member of the club. Very well respected guy, you know. He was very close with a lot of the people I'm close to. They knew him far better than I did. Like, I didn't know him at all, and they give him a much better account of him. So I feel like I'm almost doing him an injustice speaking on him. But that funeral procession was such a special thing. That was one of the moments that really, like, fucking hammered it home for me. This is something I belong in. To see this outpouring of respect from fucking millions and millions of, like, thousands of bikers showing up for this guy. They stopped the whole of Newcastle town centre fucking dead just to show him respect. So the Tyne Tunnel, I'm not too ashamed to admit this, might be big airy biker, but I got fucking choked up in that tunnel. Again, didn't even know the guy. But we were coming down the in-ramp. As we go under the underpass, you just get hit with this fucking overwhelming, like, tidal wave of noise, bike noise, echoes. No one's got helmets on either, so, you know, you're on a funeral procession, you don't wear helmets. So it hit me like a fucking tidal wave, and I was literally going through that tunnel in floods of tears, and I didn't even know the guy. Just at the pure spectacle of what this club represented. Yeah. It's like, this is bigger than you know, your mates that you've known a few years or whatever. It's like, these people don't even fucking, like, a lot of the club members They're an international club. They had members from Japan, from Russia, from fucking all over the place come to show this guy respect just because he was a part of the thing that they're a part of. That to me was like, this is big. This is community. This is massive. Colours, races, nationalities, none of it means anything. He's a fucking brother. I loved that. That was special for me.
100%, mate. Completely agree. If I rode a bike, my missus has always said to me she'd divorce me if I got a motorbike.
Yeah, they all say that with the first one. Turns out mine actually do.
Yeah, I'll get you, mate.
Yeah, don't take my advice.
Listen, I respect you, but yeah, I might not dial into your relationship advice there, Aaron. But yeah, mate. Again, I wanted to touch on that because I feel like it's important. I'm not saying, like, to anyone listening, I'm not saying, look, go out and join a bike club. I mean, if you're into bikes, fucking all be it. But it's that community, fellowship, brothership, whatever you want to call it, man. Because I see it in different forms. Like I said, Chris Booth's, his group, the Men of the Breath of Life, massive shout out to them again, doing some incredible work, literally saving lives because there's blokes that are struggling, but coming together and supporting each other. And to a large extent, I think with men, there's nothing that's going to help you more than having that conversation with somebody that actually gets it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm a big advocate for anything that helps, therapy, counselling, whatever it might be. But sometimes with those kind of help methods, the person sat at the other end of the table, yeah, they might have trained to do it, but you're sat there thinking, but you can't get it.
Gel with them.
And like, I'm sat here tonight listening to your story and thinking, I get it. Like, I've been through not the same, but similar. And I can process some of the emotions that you've been through, I've been through, and we all manifest it differently. But it's that, and I think, again, the importance of that brotherhood, coming together, men coming together to help each other, it's invaluable. So I think anyone that's struggling out there, if you haven't got that, it's an easy fucking thing to say, isn't it? You know, go find your purpose.
You can't go and get it out of Woolworths.
No,
but Woolworths is closed. Actually, that's an irrelevant.
That's a long time ago.
Back, showing my age now.
But trying to find your people, your thing, your purpose, that can literally save you. You really can.
I'll tell you where you're not going to find it. You're not going to find it in the pub at 11 o'clock on a Saturday night. You're not going to find it in your mate's kitchen at 4 o'clock in the morning. All you're going to find in those places is fucking despair. I know this because I've been there. There's nothing good to come from the sesh. And as appealing as it might be, if you're stuck in that routine of doing that Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, your brain is going to be so depleted of the hormones and the chemicals that it requires just on a chemical level to keep you happy. You're not just going to be depleted on a Sunday when you feel like shit. That's going to go on into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday it might be coming back to normal, and Thursday you're going back out on the sesh. So you're not ever getting out of this routine of having a depleted level of serotonin, dopamine, etc. in your brain. You're having a chemically induced depression, and you're doing it to your fucking selves. So if you are in the pub every weekend, I'm telling you now, open offer to anybody who wants it. Come to my boxing gym. You won't have to pay for your first week. I will take time out of my schedule and I'll do bits with you. I'll train with you. And the only commitment I ask is just give the fucking session a break for one weekend. Do something positive. Drop me a message on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Come and find me and we'll do something positive together. And I promise you now, it might not change your life, but it'll at least give you a different perspective to look at life from. That's my offer to you.
Mate, I love that. I was going to ask you, what would your advice be to somebody that's struggling, but you've just summed it up,
Drop
mate.
me a message.
You've just summed it up. It's, yeah, fucking perfect, mate. It's, I think one of the issues really amongst us, amongst men, is that actually we don't know how to help each other. Because I know, like, when I went through divorce and all that, like my mates, and bless them, they were trying their best to help, but the only offers I got were...
Come to the pub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, are you feeling shit? Oh, let's go for a few beers, mate. Do you know what I mean? And that's part of maybe where we need to educate ourselves and go, actually, yeah, if I know my mate's going through shit, going through a hard time and needs help, he's helping in the right way. You know, go for that training session, go for that walk, go and climb a fucking mountain, go, you know what I mean?
100%.
Do something like that rather than, as you said, drown it. Because that's all it does. It masks it, it hides it for another day, and on that other day it's twice as bad, twice as big. you know.
And there's no positive to come out of it.
Yeah.
You're just killing time and brain cells. That's it. There's no growth there. You know, it's easy. Like, if you need easy distraction, fucking go to the pub. But if you want actual growth, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. There's going to have to be some sacrifices. Like you said, it might be climbing a mountain. You've clearly climbed a few mountains. It's fucking graft. It's horrible at the time. Like, you get to the top and you might enjoy it a little bit, but your feet hurt, your legs hurt, you're sweaty, you smell, you're hungry, you're fucking froze half the time. It's fucking horrible. But I guarantee you, when you're back down, you look back at it and go, you know what, that was actually fun.
Oh, mate, you feel amazing.
I got something out of that. It's the same with boxing. At the time, it's not fun. It's fucking horrible. It's graft. But I guarantee you, once you've been once, it won't be the last time you go. It's the same with any form of exercise. Football, volleyball, netball, I don't care. It's all graft. But if it was easy, everybody would do it. And I can only speak firsthand from the benefits that I found from it. And, you know, when you take it seriously, it's not just killing a bit of time. It's diet, it's nutrition, it's getting your sleep right, it's goal setting. Then you're learning valuable skills from it as well. You know, no one's going to sell your tickets for you. You become a marketing manager, your own marketing manager. You become a delivery driver because you've got to get these tickets out to people. You become there's a lot there. And I'm not saying become a fucking boxer. I'm not saying become a mountain climber. Just do something more positive than going to the pub with your mates.
Well, you got to find the right thing for you, haven't you? And if you try everything, something will click. You know, if you try going to the gym, if you try going to a boxing gym, if you try, you know, doing I don't know, what is that thing that's mad everyone's doing now? High rocks, is it? All that kind of crazy shit.
Oh yeah, bullshit,
but just try something, and eventually something will click, and you'll go, yeah, that's my thing.
Yeah.
And that then gives you that all important purpose to try and move. There's an accountability thing, really, when you're in the darkness and you're in having the shit times. There's an accountability. It's okay to feel bad. It's okay to feel the trauma, but at some point you have to stand up and go, right, I'm moving now. I'm done sitting in it. I'm now going to move, and we have to take that on ourselves, you know. And again, we can do that to encourage that as friends, but ultimately that responsibility, the base responsibility, sits in you.
Yeah. To
recognise and move.
No one's going to do it for you.
Exactly that, mate. And you know, mate, listen, I've really enjoyed talking to you. Your story is exceptional. I'm going to be keeping an eye on your progress as well. I'll be tuning into the fights, man. Now I know you. I'm going to have to watch them.
I expect all of you guys too as well. So follow me on Instagram, Gringo Mandingo.
Mate, actually, listen, before we wrap this up, I've got to clarify that. You got to tell the listeners the meaning, Gringo Mandingo, because that ain't the normal nickname, Aaron.
Okay, so I've explained this a bunch of times, so I'll keep it brief. It basically translates to white dude with the big black cock. But if you like and follow my Instagram and drop me a message, I'll send you a longer clip explaining the full thing. And if you sign up to my OnlyFans, you can just see it for yourself. So.
Love it, man. Love it. So, yeah, mate, listen, massive pleasure having you in. Your Instagram is
Gringo
Mandingo. Anywhere else to find you?
I'm on Facebook, Aaron Ashton. I've just set up TikTok because I've been told to do it, but I've not got a fucking clue what I'm doing.
Do you know what, man? I was the same, but apparently it's the fastest growing platform for people between like 30 and 45.
I didn't think you were allowed on it over 16 years old, to be fair.
Neither did I, mate.
Fucking well to me.
Do you know what somebody said to me a while ago, though, Aaron? This might swerve your sort of like attention. We all focus on Instagram. It's the only platform that don't pay you.
It's very true.
It's the only one. So on TikTok, I know you have to get to a certain amount of followers and shit like that, but you can monetize it. Facebook, you can monetize it. So if you start, you know, if you get reels that blow up and that on TikTok, potentially you can actually earn some dough.
I have got YouTube as well, actually. Gringo Mandingo on YouTube. I'm just starting to grow that because, yeah, I've got fucking everything else now. I might as well.
Mate, listen, everyone that is listening, watching, whatever, go and give Aaron a follow. Go and show him support, particularly when he's got his fights coming up. Aaron, is there anything that we haven't discussed that you wanted to talk about?
No, I think we've covered everything. But, yeah. Also on that subject, give the Wolverhampton Sport Crew, the 81 Sport Crew, a follow as well. And if you are going to get into anything, don't get into high rocks because it's gay.
Brilliant final words, mate.
Cheers, guys.
Mate, really appreciate your time. To everyone listening, again, big thank you actually to the Funky Peach who provide our guest merchandise. I'll send Aaron away with a few bits. So massive thank you to you guys. Anyone looking to get workwear printed, go and check out the Funky Peach, and catch you all soon on the next one.
Cheers, guys.
Appreciate it, man.